What it do, flight crew? FTC. Flight team stand up. We got the man Jimmy High Roller. The weirdest trade in NBA I've ever seen. I think I read that wrong. Wait, the weirdest trade in... I just added the N or something. But anyway, we all knew I felt like this video was about to end up coming from the man High Roller himself. Now, I have a good feeling they're probably talking about the Simmons, or Ben, or Harden trade. But sometimes the thing about High Roller is that sometimes you have to click on his videos because he could talk about a whole different backstory of something else. So I have a feeling it's probably about that. But let's check it out.
I cannot believe it actually happened. Ben Simmons is no longer with the 76ers. And just 13 months
what do you expect? He didn't play.
James Harden is gone. What could have easily been the greatest big three in NBA history has quickly become a cautionary tale for the rest of the league. And the era of the super team is coming to an end. Today's video is sponsored by DraftKings.
Alright, skipping right through.
$5 deposit into your account and get that's promo code JIPPER of the NFL. 2 years ago, if you told me 2 years ago that Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, and James Harden would all be on the same team, I wouldn't believe you. I would not believe that other teams would allow this cheat code of a team to even happen. Now, if you told me that Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, and James Harden would all be on the same team and that they would never win a championship, I would assume that the entire league folded and ceased to exist in the middle of their title run. That would be the only logical explanation. A team this overpowered isn't even supposed to exist. Nobody can compete with this. And yet, after a season and a half, non-stop rumors, and unfulfilled potential, this Nets trio is already a thing of the past, with absolutely nothing to show for it. After months of constant trade rumors, the Nets and Sixers dropped a bomb on the NBA world yesterday in a trade that featured James Harden for Ben Simmons, Seth Curry, Andre
What does Harden play his
and
first Sixers
two
game?
first-round
And the
picks.
same with Simmons.
Now, first things first, both teams just got better. Ben Simmons was never going to suit up for the Sixers again, so they had to find a valuable asset to trade for him. Did they give up too much for James Harden? Probably. But with Embiid playing out of his mind for the last 2 seasons, the Sixers knew they needed to go all in before they squandered away Embiid's best years. And they now have a roster that will compete with any team in the league. And the Nets just got the extra depth and defense they desperately needed
they
while
got
picking
Harden
up
on
2
the Sixers.
first-round picks in the process. This whole trade is weird because at first glance, it kind of looks like a lose-lose. A drama queen who refuses to play in exchange for a former MVP.
Dude, you're
Potentially
savage!
5 players.
This man called him a
for
drama
one
queen.
Doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But when you get into the details, this is actually the best.
I don't know if it was a valid report. Because sometimes I don't be trusting like these basketball, like, you know what I'm saying, pages, blog pages and stuff like that. But they actually said that when Simmons got traded to the Nets, it's like allegedly, supposedly, because we're not saying that it did, because you know what I'm saying, like, we don't know if it's true or not. Like, apparently, like, Simmons was, like, crying, like, tears of joy that he finally got traded to another team. But I don't know if that's true or not. So, like, what do y'all have to say about that?
For both teams considering their
It was like his dream to play with the Nets or something?
For a moment, can we discuss the magnitude of this team's downfall? The fact that this trio is possibly the biggest what-if team in NBA history? Including the playoffs, the Durant, Irving, Harden trio have been on the Nets for a total of 126 games.
Wow.
Out of those 126 games, all 3 stars have suited up and played together in just 16. Just 16 games.
Bro, like, this is the problem right here, man. Like, can you imagine, like, I think, honestly, like, outside of being an NBA player that's an actual good and an all-star yourself, on top of that being stressful, I think the most stressful part of the NBA, man, because you can clearly tell it's stressful being in the NBA. Look at Durant's hair. Look at LeBron's hair. You know what I'm saying? Bro, come on. Anyway, bro, being like an actual, like, what is it called? Like a GM or something that's like whoever is in charge of, like, making these trades and putting these teams together, bro. This gotta be just all type of depressing right here, bro. Like, looking at, bro, you made these types of moves 126 games, and they only played in 16 games, bro. Like, 16 games out of 126. Like,
out of 126. And in those 16 games, the Nets went 13 and 3.
And that's what I was just about to ask, like, how many of those did they win? And they look a great-ass record. So can you imagine if they sat here and figured it out and they ended up playing together for at least 110 games at least? Like, bro, I'm not even gonna lie, bro. I think the Nets, man, they could have easily went to the championship. Like, it's not like, I'm gonna be honest with you, they're not gonna go to the finals anytime soon because they needed that Durant, Harden, and Kyrie. That was the superstar big three that would have put them there. The Nets, at most, if lucky, they're a second round team, and that's if they have like all their players playing like fantastic. Well, honestly, I just see him being a play and bounce out, 100%. I don't like, bro. Simmons is not that much. He can't shoot. I shoot better than with my eyes closed, bro. So I think the Nets,
when they all
they're a bounce out, play-in
81%
team.
of their games.
The Sixers are a second round team.
We rarely got to see this since this big three never played with each other for more than a few games at a time. And that, my friends, is tragic. If this big three could have stayed healthy and put their egos to the side, they could have easily won multiple championships.
Wow.
Think about how close the Nets were to beating the eventual champs last season in the Bucks with no Kyrie and a crippled James Harden. If KD were a size 10.5 in men's shoes, they all might just be sitting on a championship together right now. If a young, inexperienced OKC team with Westbrook, Harden, and KD is a massive what if in NBA history, what does that make this Nets trio? Because the fact is,
bro, you know, this last supposed video, my bad, bro. So I found out the backstory finally. Now I see why Durant in that one All-Star draft was just so like, you know, irritated, you know, like looking, bro. Like, bro, Harden and Durant, low key, they go back, bro. They go way back. You know what I'm saying? Like, I understand, like he was mad at that day with the trade, but now think about it. This man Durant's been playing with Harden since the Thunder days. And this man has literally seen him like have the same mentality and not have it like, you know, changing.
There wasn't a team in the entire league that could compete with them. But before you know it, this big three doesn't even exist anymore. Think about the series of events that led to this moment. Ben Simmons passes up on an easy basket. Doc Rivers publicly doubts him in front of millions. Simmons is pissed and refuses to play the following season.
He doesn't even have his mask on right.
James Harden goes down with an injury in the playoffs. Then Kyrie goes down with an injury. KD steps on the three-point line, and the Bucks win the series. The Nets have to regroup the following season, but they can't because Kyrie is sitting out every single game. James Harden is annoyed by this, and he wants out of Brooklyn. Kevin Durant gets injured in the middle of an MVP caliber season, and now the Nets are really in trouble. And the Sixers capitalize on this opportunity by trading one disgruntled employee for another. If Harden doesn't get hurt in last season's playoffs, if Kyrie doesn't get hurt, if Durant doesn't step on the three-point line, if Kyrie gets vaccinated, if Durant doesn't get injured, if Ben Simmons isn't afraid to dunk on a 6-foot-tall point guard, if even one of these things doesn't happen, I have a feeling this trio exists today. I bet they eventually win a ring, and the legacy of three all-time great players changes forever. In fact, I think all things considered, this season-and-a-half-long saga could not have gone any worse. Anything that could have went wrong. And yet, somehow, because of this specific set of circumstances, the Nets are now in a better situation after trading away a former MVP. But you want to know who's made it out better than anyone in the midst of this league-altering transaction? The most unlucky superstar of the decade, Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid has had to sit back and put up with Simmons' antics for years. Embiid has never complained. He's never turned on Ben or the organization. He just put his head down and got better and better every single season. He's had to shapeshift and mold his game around Ben since Embiid is capable of this, being that he's the better and more versatile player of the two. Of course, you wouldn't know this since the Sixers front office has bent over backwards to please Ben, and the fact that just 2 seasons ago there were legitimate arguments as to who the Sixers should build their team around. But alas, here we are in 2022 with James Harden on his third team in 2 seasons. The Nets big three coming and going
around like
in the
a
blink of an
blunt.
eye, and Ben Simmons finally getting his way and getting
Look at Simmons' face,
the moody NBA
bro. Hey, no cap. Like, that's why I tell y'all, bro. Like, the reason I'm not in the NBA is because of practice. I ain't gonna lie to you, but that was my face during practice when I used to play on a team, bro, in high school, bro. Like, because you go in there for free, not getting paid, but this is a different scenario for Simmons, but he just doesn't have an excuse. You're getting paid $20,000 a minute to be there. But anyway, like, imagine you going after school, bro, practice for 2-3 hours. Bro, I was me. I ain't gonna lie to you. But I used to go hard, bro. I had legendary practice moments, bro.
Plays half the time. 2 moody NBA stars who only play half the time. But with this trade completely shaking up the complexion,
I ain't gonna lie, the most litest practice for me, though, was a winter break practice. We just had a lot of good vibes and just, like, memories that at high school ish, man.
The NBA has been on this massive
winter break, we had practice, like, almost every day except for Sunday.
The hunt really caught fire once LeBron and the Heat created the Big Three in Miami. And after watching this trio go to 4 straight NBA Finals, GMs and players around the league caught the super team bug. Forget chemistry, forget salary caps. Let's chase the best players and let's get them to sign with us by any means necessary, even if it destroys the future of our franchise for the next decade. And so it began. Super teams, or at least attempts to create these superstar lineups, started to pop up around the league. The rich got richer, while small market teams with little to offer fell further.
Bro, I don't know why it's my pet peeve
The
when
gap
people say that the
between
rich
good
get
teams
richer,
and bad
bro.
teams grew
Like,
larger,
bro, just
and
work
90%
hard.
of regular season games were a foregone conclusion. The playoffs were in an even worse state. The first round became a graveyard for teams who were blissfully ignorant enough to think they even had a chance. And we all just sat around waiting for the finals matchup that we saw coming before the season even began. And then just a decade after the super team era began, we met the super team of all super teams. The already insanely great Golden State Warriors signed Kevin Durant, and the league pretty much conceded for the next 3 seasons. The concept of a super team had met its inevitable peak, and the moment it did,
Yo, was
the
Durant
league
just brushing
almost
his goatee with the
intuitively
basketball?
began to shift in another direction. Out of nowhere, the Raptors with just one star player won the NBA title. The following season, the Lakers with an all-time great 1-2 punch won the championship. And last season, Giannis and the Bucks proved that a superstar with the right pieces around him can win it all. The era of the super team is coming to an end, with player demands reaching an all-time high, huge injuries plaguing star players now more than ever before, and organizations being held hostage at the demands of superstars. The concept of a super team has become nearly impossible to maintain. If you look at the state that the NBA is in right now, all of the top teams have 1, maybe 2 all-star caliber players with a roster built around chemistry and skill sets and strengths and weaknesses and longevity. I think after seeing countless teams chase big names only to implode and tank the next 5 years of their franchise in the process with absolutely nothing to show for it, organizations have changed the blueprints for building and
Why is my man
nurturing
high
a
roll on the
successful
Warriors
team.
head so much?
The downfall of the
Hey,
Nets
man,
Big
we're winning
Three
the championship
could be
this year,
nail
man. Let's
in
give
the
it up.
super team coffin.
He's highlighting
The
everything about
Golden
them.
State Warriors set the golden standard, but that team was an anomaly. 4 stars all willing to play their role and not fuss and complain about it. Every single player doing whatever it takes to win. We will never see another team like that. The Raptors didn't win their championship this way, neither did the Lakers, and neither did the Bucks. And I think the demise of this Nets Big Three might just be the demise of the super team in the NBA. Hope you all enjoyed. And as always, until next time.
That's what you mean. Coming up with that stretch next, man. Roll the 5.